watching the news at 9 o'clock with me, Jonathan Gaunt. Tonight, this royal throne of kings, this sceptred isle, this earth of majesty, this seat of Mars, this other Eden, demi-paradise, this fortress built by nature for herself, against infection and the hand of war. This happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone set in the silver sea.
This blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England.
This land of such dear souls, this dear, dear land, dear for her reputation through the world, is now leased out. I die pronouncing it. Like to a tenement or pelting farm, England, bound in with a triumphant sea whose rocky shore beats back the envious siege of watery Neptune, is now bound in with shame, with inky blots and rotten parchment bonds. That England that was wont to conquer others hath made a shameful conquest of itself. Thy deathbed is no lesser than thy land, wherein thou liest in reputation sick, and thou, too careless patient as thou art, committ'st thy anointed body to the cure of those physicians that first wounded thee. 1,000 flatterers sit within thy crown, and yet, encaged in so small a verge, thy waist is no whit lesser than thy land. This royal throne of kings, this sceptred isle, this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England. And now the weather. Over to you, Catherine.
I've passed a miserable night, so full of hateful dreams, of ugly sights. I would not spend another such night, though 'twere to buy a world of happy days. So full of dismal terror was the time, methought I was embarked to cross the channel.
Hence we looked toward England, and sighted up 1,000 heavy times during the wars that had befallen us. I thought my brother stumbled, and in falling struck me, that thought to stay him overboard into the tumbling billows of the main.
Oh, Lord, methought what pain it was to drown. What dreadful noise of waters in mine ears, what sights of ugly death within mine eyes.
I saw 1,000 fearful wrecks, 1,000 men that fishes not upon. I passed methought the melancholy flood with that sour ferryman which poets ride off onto the kingdom of perpetual night. With that methought a legion of foul fiends environed me and howled in mine ears, that with the very noise I, trembling,
waked, and for a season after could not believe but that I was in hell. Such terrible impression made their dream.
Sir, I desire you do me right and justice, and to bestow your pity, having here no judge indifferent, nor no more assurance of equal friendship and proceeding. Alas, sir, in what have I offended you? What cause hath my behaviour given to your displeasure? You sign your place and calling in full seeming, with meekness and humility, but your hearts are crammed with arrogancy, spleen, not pride. You have, by fortune and his highness favours, gone slightly o'er low steps, and now are mounted where powers are your retainers, and your words, domestics to you, serve your will as please yourself, pronounce their office. I must tell you, you tender more your person's honour than your high profession political. That again, I do refuse you for my judge. And here, before you all, appeal unto the people. It is a heretic that makes the fire. not those who burn in it. I'll not call you tyrant, but this most cruel usage of us queers, not able to produce more accusation than your own weak-hinged fancy, something savours of tyranny, and will ignoble make you, yea, scandalous to the world.
They have beguiled me with a counterfeit, resembling sovereignty, which, being touched and tried, proves valueless. You are forsworn, and our oppression hath made up this league. Thou little valiant, great in villainy, thou ever strong, upon the stronger side, thou fortune's champion, which does never fight but when her humorous ladyship is by to teach thee safety. Thou art perjured too, and soothest up greatness. What a fool art thou, a ramping fool, to brag and stamp and swear upon my party. When law can do no right, let it be lawful that law should bar no wrong. Law cannot give this child their freedom here. Therefore, since law itself is perfect wrong, how can the law forbid my tongue to curse?
You have done me wrong, notorious wrong. You have here profited me, kept me in darkness, sent ministers to me, assessed, and done all that you can to face me out of my wits. I tell thee, fools, I am as much in my wits as any man. Pray you, peruse this letter. You mustn't now deny it is your hand, and tell me, in the modesty of honour, why you have given me such clear lights of favour, and acting this in an obedient hope, have suffered me to be imprisoned, kept me in a dark house, visited by the priest, and made me the most notorious geck and gull that their invention played on. Tell me why. I'll be revenged on the whole pack here.
Hello? Thy crown doth sear my eyeballs, and thy hair, thou gold-bound brow, is like the first, a third is like the former. Oh, filthy hags, why do you show me this? A fourth, start eyes. What? Will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? Another yet! A fourth! I'll see no more. And yet, a fifth appears, who bears a glass. Oh, horrible sight! Now I see, 'tis true.
Have more than thou showest. Speak less than thou knowest. Lend less than thou owest. Ride more than thou boast. Learn more than thou trust. Set less than thou throwst. Leave thy drink and thy whore, and stay in a door, and thou shalt have more than 2 tens to a score.
It is excellent to have a giant's strength, but it is tyrannous to use it like a giant. Could great men thunder, as Zeus himself was? Every petty officer would use his heaven for thunder. Nothing but thunder. For men, proud men dressed in a little brief authority, most ignorant of what they're most assured, their glassy essence, like an angry ape, play such fantastic tricks before high heaven as make the angels weep.
Who would believe thee, Isabel? My unsoiled name, the austereness of my life, my vouch against you, and my place in the state will so your accusation overweigh, you shall stifle in your own report and smell of calumny.
Oh, perilous mouths, that bear in them one and the same self-tongue, either of condemnation or a proof, bidding the law makes curtsy to their will, hooking both right and wrong to the appetite, to follow as it draws.
These are the forgeries of jealousy, and with our brawls we have disturbed your sport. Because the winds, piping to us in vain, as in revenge, hath sucked up from the sea contagious fogs, which falling in the land have made every pelting river so proud that they have overborne their continents. The ox had therefore stretched his yoke in vain. The ploughman lost his sweat, and the green corn hath rotted ere his youth attained a beard. The fold stands empty in the drowned field, the crows are fatted with the Murrian flock. The Nyman's morass all filled up with mud, we human mortals want our winter cheer. And now the moon, the governess of floods, pale in her anger, washes all the air that rheumatic diseases do abound. And through this distemperature we see the seasons alter. Hoary-headed frosts fall in the fresh lap of the crimson rose. The spring, the summer, the childing autumn, angry winter all change their wonted liveries, and the mazed world, by their increase, now knows not which is which. And this same progeny of evils comes from your debate, from your dissension. You are their parents and original.
'Tis not due yet. You would be loath to pay death before his day. What need you be so forward with him that calls not on you? Well, 'tis no matter. Honour pricks me on.
A good sherry sack had a twofold operation in it. It sends me into the brain, dries me there all the foolish, dull, prudy vapours which environ it, makes it apprehensive, quick, forgettive, full of nimble, fiery, delectable shapes which, delivered over to the voice, the tongue, which is the birth, becomes excellent wit.
Can honour set to a leg? No. Or to an arm? No. Or take away the grief of a wound? No. Honour hath no skill in surgery then? No. What is honour? A word. What is in that word honour? What is that honour? Air. A trim reckoning.
The second property of your excellent sherris is the warming of the blood, which before cold and settled left the liver white and pale, which is the badge of pusillanimity and cowardice. If I had 1,000 sons, The first humane principle I would teach them would be to forswear thin potations and to addict themselves to sack.
Who hath it? He that died o' Wednesday? Doth he feel it? No. Doth he hear it? No. 'Tis insensible then. Yea, to the dead. But will it not live with the living? No. Why? Detraction will not suffer it. Therefore I'll none of it. Money is a good soldier, sir, and will on.
Imagine that you see the wretched strangers, their babies at their backs and their poor luggage plodding to the ports and coasts for transportation.
And that you sit as kings in your desires, authority quite silent by your brawl, and you, in rough of your opinions clothed. What had you got? I'll tell you. You had taught how insolence and strong hands should prevail, how order should be quelled, and by this pattern, not one of you should live an aged man.
For other ruffians, as their fancies wrought, with self-same hand, self-reasons and self-right, would shark on you, and men, like ravenous fishes, would feed on one another.
Say now the courts could come so much too short of your great trespass as but to banish you. Whither would you go?
What country, by the nature of your error, should give you harbour? Go you to France or Flanders? To any German province, to Spain or Portugal?
Nay, anywhere that not adheres to England. Why, you must needs be strangers. Would you be pleased to find a nation of such barbarous temper that breaking out in hideous violence would not afford you an abode on earth?
Whet their detested knives against your throats, spurn you like dogs, and like as if that God owed not nor made not you, nor that the elements were not all appropriate to your comforts, but chartered unto them. What would you think to be thus used?
This is the stranger's case. And this is your mountainish inhumanity.
We are accounted poor citizens, the patricians good. What authority surfeits on would relieve us? If they would yield us but the superfluity, we might guess they relieved us humanely. But they think we are too dear. The leanness that afflicts us, the object of our misery, is as an inventory to particularise their abundance. Our sufferance is a gain to them.
You slander the helms of the state who care for you like fathers, when you curse them as enemies.
Care for us! True indeed, they ne'er cared for us yet. Suffer us to famish, and their storehouses crammed with grain. Make edicts for usury to support usurers. Repeal daily any wholesome act established against the rich, and provide more piercing statutes daily to chain up and restrict the poor. If the wars eat us not up, they will. And theirs all the love they bear us.